If you're eating 1,500 calories a day and still not losing fat, then this video is for you. You see, most men over 35 are stuck because they're doing a calorie deficit the wrong way. I've coached hundreds of guys like you through this over the last 6 years, and once you fix these 5 mistakes, fat loss becomes simple, predictable, and dare I say it, even enjoyable. So full screen the video and let's lock in, lads. Mistake number 1 is that you're using the wrong number to set your calories. You see, most guys start by finding a calculator online, typing in their stats, and then subtracting 500 calories from whatever the calculator spits out, which seems fine on paper, but here's the problem. Most of those calculators only show your resting calories, which is the energy your body burns just to stay alive. That number doesn't include your workouts, your steps, or even your digestion. So when you take that number and chop off another 500, you're only left with 1,500 calories. Now, that might be all right for a small woman because they need fewer calories, but for a man who's already using his brain all day at work and trying to push harder in the gym at the same time, it's far too little. That's why your energy drops, your lifts feel weak, and you start losing muscle instead of fat. You see, when your calories are that low, your body fights back. It slows down your metabolism and makes you move less. So the deficit you thought you had actually disappears. I see this all the time when guys join my coaching program. They're mentally prepared for me to say that they're only allowed to eat lettuce for the next few months, only to be pleasantly surprised when I insist that they eat more. The best example of this is probably James. He used to have that classic skinny fat look. His idea of a plan was to starve yourself until you cry and run until your feet bleed. But I gave him the proper macros and calories he needed, which were much higher than he'd been aiming for, and this is what happened. And that's what you need to do. Stop focusing on your RMR and start looking at your TDEE. Your TDEE stands for total daily energy expenditure and includes 4 things: your resting burn, your daily movement, your workouts, and the calories your body uses to digest food. Once you know your TDEE, take off around 500 calories. That's your real deficit. Enough to lose fat, but also enough to not lose your mind. But if you're not sure how to figure out your TDEE, don't worry, because I built a free calculator just for guys like you, and it only takes 15 seconds to use. All you got to do is plug in your details and I'll send you your ideal calorie deficit and your macros. I'll leave the link in the description under the video if you want to check it out. Mistake number 2 is that you're not actually in a deficit anymore. You see, just because you were in a deficit when you started, it doesn't mean you still are now. Let's say you started strong, you set your calories, started losing weight, and you felt great. Then out of nowhere, you hit a brick wall. You're doing the same steps, the same workouts, the same meals, but the scales won't move. But that's not you failing. That's your body adapting. You see, as you lose weight, your body burns fewer calories, not just because you're smaller, but because it gets more efficient. You move less without you even realizing it. Your hunger changes. Your metabolism adjusts. Suddenly what used to be a deficit is now your maintenance. There's even research showing that when someone loses 10% of their body weight, their daily burn can drop by about 15 to 20%. That's enough to wipe out your deficit if you don't make changes. So here's what to do. Check your progress over the last 2 to 3 weeks. If your weight, waistline, and progress photos haven't changed, it's time to adjust. So you can either eat a little less, say 100 to 200 calories a day, or move more. Add 200 to 300 steps, or a little bit of incline walking on the treadmill after your training sessions. Personally, I prefer adding movement just because cutting food sucks, doesn't it? It keeps you eating well, feeling good, and holding onto muscle. That's how you stay in the game without feeling like you're starving. But most guys forget one key detail when they diet, and that's what we're going to talk about in mistake number 3. Mistake number 3 is so much more common than you might realize, and it's very sneaky. You see, when you eat less, your brain quietly slows you down. You fidget less, you sit more, you take the lift instead of the stairs. You don't mean to, it just happens. But all of these small changes, they really start to stack up. I remember checking my steps once during an aggressive cut and realizing that they dropped nearly 30%. If you'd have strapped me to a lie detector test before I saw that, I would have sworn I was still doing the same number of steps. That's hundreds of calories gone each day without me even noticing. You see, this everyday movement is called NEAT, non-exercise activity thermogenesis. It's all the calories that you burn outside of the gym. And it matters way more for fat loss than your workouts. In fact, we don't even want to use our workouts to burn calories. They're exclusively for building muscle. What we do outside of the gym with our NEAT and with our diet is how we burn the fat. So track your steps. Don't guess. Aim for about 8,000 a day. 10,000 is great if you can, but it's an arbitrary number. Nothing magical happens there, and it can be quite an intimidating number to a lot of guys. 8 is a solid target for most men. In fact, it's almost double what the average guy is doing right now. So if you can build up to that and get consistent, you're doing a great job. Whether it's extra steps at lunch, parking a little bit further away, taking calls while you're walking, you'll keep your metabolism humming. And remember, Walking isn't a punishment, it's a cheat code. It's the easiest way to burn more without wrecking your recovery. Now, let's talk about something that's destroying your motivation faster than anything else. And that is mistake number 4, which is that you're overreacting to the scales. We've all been there. You step on the scales, it's gone up 2 pounds, and it's instant panic. You think you've blown it, but you haven't. Don't get me wrong, the scales aren't lying, it's just not telling you the full story. That might sound crazy, but depending on your weight, it can jump up by up to 10 pounds in one day. That's water, food, salt, stress, sleep, even when the last time you ate. But it's not fat. Think about it. There are 3,500 calories in 1 pound of fat. So unless you overate, not just ate, but overate by that many calories yesterday, you haven't gained fat. So stop letting one number decide how you feel. Instead, focus on the trend. Weigh yourself every morning after the toilet, but before food or water. Then at the end of the week, take the average. That's your real progress. And track more than just the scales. Take waist measurements and progress photos once a week. Because if you're doing it right, you should be losing fat and building muscle at the same time. So don't judge progress day to day. Zoom out and watch the trend. And then mistake number 5 is that you're not being consistent. Most guys think they are, but they're not. They train hard and eat well during the week, but fall apart at the weekend. Whether it's a few beers, a takeaway, some snacks combined with no gym and barely getting off the sofa, and boom, 5 days of progress completely gone. One big day at the weekend is all it takes to erase the whole week's clean eating. And the craziest thing is, you won't even realize it because it still feels like you're trying. And this is what can make fat loss feel so brutal. You can be doing most things right and still get nowhere. But this isn't about being perfect every single day. It's about repeating the basics. So here's how to lock it in. Number 1, track your data. We've already touched on this a couple of times, but it's so important. I really want to make sure it hits home with you guys. My clients who get the best results are the ones who have the most data. Why? Because more data equals less emotion. Less emotion equals more sanity. More sanity equals better consistency, and better consistency equals better results. So track your steps, your weight, your calories, your lifts in the gym, your water intake, and even your sleep if you can. Number 2, anchor to your purpose. Fat loss is simple, but it isn't easy. And the deeper you go into your deficit, the harder it's going to get. That's why 8% of Americans are millionaires, but only 2% are lean enough to see their abs. Take solace in the fact that this is supposed to be hard. So the next time it feels that way, smile through the pain and remind yourself why you started this in the first place. Think back. Something will have triggered you to start down this road. Maybe it was sitting around with your mates and realizing that you were the biggest. Maybe it was a passive-aggressive comment from your partner. Maybe it was that you couldn't fit into your jeans one day. Whatever it was, try to remember how you felt in that moment. Because when the motivation fades, which it will, by the way, your why is what keeps you grounded. And then number 3 is to set up your environment to win. Listen, if your house is full of junk food and your mates only want to eat out or drink, you're screwed. You want to put up as many barriers between you and the bad habits as possible. Don't keep junk food in the house. Prep your meals in advance. Lay your gym clothes out the night before. Leave your alarm out of arm's reach from your bed. Take calls while you walk. Make the good habits easy and the bad ones hard. And finally, number 4, don't do it alone. Your motivation will fade. And when it does, you need someone in your corner, not just to hand you a plan, but to help you troubleshoot and ultimately to keep you sane. So whether that's a coaching program or a community of men on the same mission as you, it doesn't really matter. If you want to go fast, you go alone. If you want to go far, you go together. And that brotherhood, that alliance, that support, that accountability is what most guys are missing. And if that sounds like you, then click the second link in the description to find out exactly how my coaching program will help you lose 20 pounds of fat and build a lean, strong body you're proud of in just 180 days. Or if that doesn't appeal, you can check out this video next, where I'll show you how you can lose fat so fast, it feels like you're cheating. Catch you in the next one.